Wanted to do a video on being a vegan and adding protein into your diet, or in my case, back into my diet. People might be familiar with my story if they've been following my channel. What happened was I experimented with Dr. McDougall's The Starch Solution, which didn't go well for me. It caused me to gain a lot of body fat that I wouldn't have had. I had been on a high protein diet essentially since adolescence. I was fat as a kid, and the Atkins diet helped me lose the weight. So I was essentially on an Atkins diet, just different types of an Atkins diet, meaning I was on an Atkins diet, then a lacto-ovo pescatarian Atkins diet, then a lacto ovo Atkins diet, and then a ovo Atkins diet, because I gave up milk products before I gave up eggs, and then a vegan Atkins diet. And then some of my friends that were in the gerontology community were talking about Dr. McDougall's starch solution and how they believed that the macronutrients and the lower protein were ideal to promote longevity. So I went on the diet, and I be honest, there were a lot of things going on, but I do think that cutting the protein down to such low levels as I did on the starch solution really damaged my body. But this is Natalie Matthews, and the reason I'm showing her homepage and her recipes here that are free, she also has 2 ebooks. One is Purto Vegan, and the other one is her vegan bodybuilding cookbook. I think that it's great. She's the one that showed me how to start adding protein back into my diet, although I already knew. I had been a certified personal trainer in the past. But it was weird. It was like the starch solution caused some kind of cognitive dissonance that this was like the best way to be vegan. But the best way to be vegan is to follow a healthy, balanced diet. And these diet books that Mrs. Matthews, she's married, that Mrs. Matthews has written, they will help you balance your diet, help you add protein to your diet, and help with the macros, that your macros look more like a healthy diet. So some of the foods that she has here are the vegan enchilada lasagna, high protein vegan French toast, high protein carrot cake donuts, savory lupini bean seitan, and of course protein gluten-free brownies, pumpkin pie overnight oats, simple tofu scramble, vegan pumpkin spice protein mug cake, blueberry protein pancakes, high protein vegan mac and cheese, and there's more. So I mean, definitely check out her website, and I would highly recommend people purchase her ebooks: vegan protein mug cake, roasted garbanzo beans air fryer recipe, quick and easy vegan curry meal prep. You're not going to starve on a vegan diet as long as you're eating a proper vegan diet. Healthy vegan meatballs, healthy raw vegan spinach wraps, vegan buffalo sauce, healthy vegan buffalo tempeh, quick and easy baked tofu recipe, easy vegan protein waffles, healthy avocado pumpkin seed pesto, stuffed honey nut squash with quinoa salad, maple lemon tahini dressing that's oil-free, crispy baked tofu nuggets with sweet mustard dipping sauce, vegan fried rice. So you can see these are a lot of great protein options. And of course, if you go to her homepage, she has 2 ebooks, as I said, Purta Vegan and Fit Vegan Kitchen. And I would highly recommend people check them out. And I'm going to move on. I forgot to mention a little bit about her. So she was born and raised in Puerto Rico. Although she was a vegetarian since she was a young girl, her addiction to dairy resulted in bouts of hypoglycemia, severe acne, and extreme fatigue. When she met her husband, he shared an interest in fitness and nutrition, and together they learned about veganism. She became more passionate about being in the kitchen. Okay, she lives in California. She's a bikini athlete. So she is a professional bodybuilder. So she knows what she's talking about. You can tell by her physique. If you look at her physique, she knows what she's eating, and she knows that what she's eating matters, or she wouldn't have the physique she has. And I'm going to move on now. Now, Chloe Ting is another, she's a YouTuber, and she's an excellent source of information and free recipes to help you build muscle on a vegan diet. So these are, of course, sugar-free lemonade, apple pie granola, peanut butter chocolate chip protein balls, healthy chocolate cupcakes, minute chocolate chia mousse, satay tofu skewers, matcha latte with mini taro balls, chipotle shredded tofu wrap, chipotle white bean dip, sesame orange cauliflower, chocolate chip chickpea cookies, 3-ingredient strawberry boba. Of course, some of these recipes are not chocolate lava baked oatmeal. Some of these aren't high protein. Miss Matthews or Mrs. Matthews stuff, Natalie's stuff is very geared toward bodybuilding, whereas Chloe's is just geared towards health. But I would highly recommend you also check out Chloe Ting's stuff. Again, a lot of these recipes are free, which makes it very beneficial. So these are some of the recipes from the Blue Zones. Okay, so this is vegan recipes from the Blue Zones. You have 1620s Plymouth succotash, winter potato salad, cream of pumpkin soup. Again, these aren't necessarily geared towards a high protein diet, but these are obviously, as you can see, you're not going to starve to death on a health promoting vegan diet. Minestrone with fennel and wild garlic, Vietnamese summer rolls, pineapple cauliflower, fried rice, pancittas, gallo, Dutch apple pie. You can see there's many pages of recipes here. Minty quinoa tabula, blueberry muffin energy bites, quick pickled vegetables, no egg eggnog, classic stuffing, creamy pumpkin marinara pasta, classic stuffed shells, barbecue jackfruit sandwiches, roasted potatoes, and on and on and on. Icarian stuffed eggplant, Instant Pot, one-pot pasta with cherry tomatoes and basil, pantry-style spicy street noodles, French lentils with roasted radishes, blueberry chia muffins, Instant Pot quinoa, breakfast bowls, matcha custard with berries, Feel Better noodle soup, spicy eggplant with garlic. My point is, you're not going to starve to death on a healthy vegan diet. Dan's Longevity Dal, pineapple, whatever, and I'm going to move on. So what inspired me to make this video actually was a Q&A that Natalie Matthews was doing with her husband, where she was explaining that the macros of protein-fortified pastas actually, for bodybuilding, sometimes are better than beans. Now, I've already talked about the macros of beans and how you have to subtract the fiber. However, one of the problems is when you're a physique athlete like Natalie is, high fiber, really high fiber can cause bloating. But this is, can protein fortified pasta serve as a meat substitute? So this is a 17-day metabolic balance study. It was conducted with 13 healthy adult individuals to test the protein utilization of a meat-based diet and a protein-fortified pasta diet. So intakes of calories, protein, fat, carbohydrates, as well as ratio of meat protein or protein-fortified pasta were controlled throughout the diets. The study was comprised of 3 experimental periods, a 7-day meat protein control period, representing the typical American diet, averaging 18% protein, 40% fat, and 42% carbohydrate, a 7-day protein-enriched pasta control period, averaging 18% protein, protein, 29% fat, and 53% carbohydrates, and a 3-day protein-enriched pasta period composed of varied recipes averaging 18% protein, 29% fat, and 53% carbohydrates. The subjects who consumed both the typical American diet and the protein-enriched pasta diets achieved nitrogen balance. So they've achieved similar or the same nitrogen balance. Okay, so as you can see, it appears as though, okay, so the protein-enriched pasta diet, which includes a beneficial change in fat and carbohydrate ratio, can alter lipid profiles, blood pressure, and sodium excretion, thus leading to improved health status and a decrease in cardiac risk. So not only can protein-enriched pasta stand in for meat, but it offers health benefits that the meat-based diet does not offer. So can lentil fortified spaghetti basically help with body mass composition? Let's see here. So, okay. So they looked at the phenol content in the fortified pasta samples here. You can read this on your own. This is the data analysis, pasta technology quality. The main aim of this study was to develop a protein-enriched pasta with an important lentil content. The emphasis of the study focused on the amino acid composition, highlighted a fortified pasta with high lysine and threonine contents. Lentil fortified spaghetti showed high values of essential amino acids with improvement of the biological value and nutritional benefits. Addition of legume flour as non-gluten proteins and insoluble fibers induced a decrease in pasta quality, higher cooking loss, lower breaking energy. Some qualities attributed of fortified pasta were improved, which caused a drop of cooking loss, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so for a low carbohydrate diet, so protein-enhanced pasta is suitable for a low carbohydrate diet and provides 3-fold more BCAAs than ordinary durum pasta. The lentil local germplasm used in the study was characterized by a higher protein content and gave a final product richer in essential amino acids. Fortified pasta with lentil flour can help maintain body mass, muscle mass, and enable fat loss. So when you're buying like Barilla red lentil pasta, it can help you maintain your muscle mass. Also having an important role in the management of liver cirrhosis. Unfortunately, no increase in mono and polyunsaturated fatty acids was observed in fortified spaghetti due to their loss during cooking. To sum up, fortified spaghetti with a high amount of lentil flour can help defining health claim for legumes, improving the nutritional value without affecting sensory and technological quality. So adding a legume-based pasta will help you improve your health. It'll help you improve your liver health, and it will help you retain your body mass and improve your body composition. So people might remember I said I took meat analogs back out of my diet, and I started relying on whole beans, non-soybeans. So soybeans are the highest in protein. This shows the highest protein beans. Now these red lentils here, they make up a high portion of my diet. Protein per cup is 17.9 grams. So protein per 100 grams is 9 grams, yada, yada. Large white beans are high in protein also. Cranberry beans are high in protein. Split peas are high in protein. So as you can see, various beans are very high in protein. Pinto beans, wonderful, wonderful. Black beans, great source. Navy beans, excellent. Lima beans are even decent. So my point is beans, as I've said in the past, a legume-centered diet as opposed to a grain-centered diet or an even grain and legume-centered diet is probably better than just a solid grain-centered diet. Okay, and I'm going to move on. Now, another benefit of plant-based proteins that aren't in animal-based proteins is the phytonutrients. So the phytochemicals of black bean seed coats, isolation structure, and their anti-proliferative and antioxidant activities. So essentially, what you'll see here is that black beans, so 24 compounds, including these are different types of phytonutrients, triterpenoids, 7 flavonoids, and 5 other phytochemicals were isolated using a gradient, blah, blah, blah. Their chemical structures were identified, X-ray differentiation, yada, yada. Okay, they have showed potent anti-proliferative activities against KECO2 cell growth and blah, 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 respectively, compounds, yada, yada. So, as you can see, the phytonutrients that are in the black coating of the soybeans show very good anti-proliferative and antioxidant activities. The antioxidant capacity and phytonutrient content in the seed coat of common Mexican beans. Okay. The common bean is a legume pertaining to the Fasole family and blah, blah, blah. The common bean originated in Mesoamerica, and well, it actually most likely originated in the Andean civilization, but okay, it originated in Mesoamerica and was later domesticated between 5000 and 2000 BC at 2 locations in the Americas, Mesoamerica, and the Andes. Starting with wild beans, 2 different domesticated gene pools thrived, namely the Mesoamerican and Andean varieties. Legumes represented the first consumed vegetable group in human nutrition, especially so remember, legumes represent the first consumed vegetable group in human nutrition, especially among the low-income population in developing countries. Legumes are a good source of protein, providing more than 2 to 3 times the protein content found in cereals. Also, legumes are rich in dietary fiber and starch. Moreover, the common bean contains a large number of bioactive substances, including enzyme inhibitors, lectins, phytates, oligosaccharides, and phenolic compounds. Phenolic compounds are mainly compounds in legumes responsible for the antioxidant potential attributed to these seeds, which possess a wide array of pharmacological and medicinal properties such as anti-inflammatory, anti-carcinogenic, and vasodilation activities. In addition, the common bean possesses an extensive variety of flavonoids, anthocyanins, proanthocyanins, flavanols, phenolic acids, isoflavonins. Thus, common bean consumption is associated with various physiological and health-related benefits, such as preventing cardiovascular disease, obesity, diabetes, and cancer. It is also known to contain unsaturated fatty acids, linoleic acid, vitamins, and minerals. The common bean is estimated to contain 4 to 10 times more iron and 2 to 3 times more zinc than rice. Moreover, bean consumption in Latin America provides 8 to 27% of potassium needed to satisfy daily nutrition requirements. This legume contains up to 3 times more potassium than bananas. It also has a high phosphorus content, in which a high genetic variation has been observed. Thus, it has been reported that common bean seeds pertaining to the Mesoamerican gene pool normally show a higher phosphorus content than the seeds from Andean or Andine gene pools. It should say Andean. I don't know why it doesn't. Furthermore, the common bean grain is formed by the seed coat, okay, which represents approximately 9% of the total dry matter contained in the seed. Okay, which represents approximately 90%, embryonic excess, yada yada. Okay, moreover, the gene type. So, the phytonutrient test to measure concentration, phosphorus measurement. So the study that's contained here, and of course people can read this on their own, the study showed the bean genotype and seed part have a significant effect on the color, antioxidant capacity, and phytonutrient content of bean grains. The values obtained for the color parameter were consistent with the values obtained for coloration for the seeds tested. Thus, the highest luminance, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so there's higher content of protein, iron, nitrogen, zinc, copper, okay, varieties, blah, blah, blah. As you can tell, obviously, consumption of beans promotes health benefits, and we're going to move on to the Hispanic paradox. The Hispanic paradox is not really that paradoxical. Essentially, it's whole foods. So health statistics and epidemiologic studies have shown that Hispanics live longer than non-Hispanic whites despite a high prevalence of cardiovascular disease, risk factors, and an average low socioeconomic status, both strong predictors of cardiovascular disease and mortality. This phenomenon has been dubbed the Hispanic paradox and has been demonstrated in old and contemporary cohorts. To date, no factor has been identified that could explain this phenomenon. Whole foods, but socio-demographic factors, dietary intake, and genetic predisposition have been proposed, blah, 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 as the French paradox, where French have been found to have lower rate of coronary heart disease, helped to identify the role of the Mediterranean diet and wine consumption in the prevention of coronary heart disease. The Hispanic paradox could help identify protective factors against coronary heart disease. This article describes the current evidence supporting the existence of a Hispanic paradox. So Hispanics, and in particular foreign-born Mexican Americans, probably due to what they eat, have been shown to fare better across a range of health outcomes than might be expected given the generally higher levels of socioeconomic disadvantage in this population, a phenomenon termed the Hispanic paradox. Previous research on social disparities in cognitive aging, however, has been unable to address both race and ethnicity and nativity. The paradoxical advantages of Mexican ethnic groups and role of nativity. Socioeconomic status and enclave residence we employ, okay, moving on. So the Tarahumara Indians, which come from Copper Canyon in Chihuahua, Mexico, what is their nutrient intake? These are a beans and rice kind of people, okay? And everybody thinks that beans and rice will kill you, but the Tarahumara Indians in the Sierra Madre Occidental Mountains of Mexico was carried out to determine the composition of their diet and its nutrient adequacy. Dietary history, so they're basically a corn, well, not even beans and rice, they're corn, beans, and squash kind of people. They're the Three Sisters kind of people. Dietary histories from 174 adults and 198 children were obtained. The histories, blah, blah, blah. Nutrient calculations of daily intake were based upon food composition tables and some actual analysis of Tarahumara foods. The protein intake was ample at 87 grams and generously met the World Health Organization recommendations for daily intake of essential amino acids. Fat contributed only 12% of total calories, its composition being 2% saturated fat, 5% polyunsaturated. Okay, the mean dietary cholesterol intake was very low, less than 100 milligrams a day, and the plant sterol intake was high, over 400 milligrams a day. Carbohydrate comprised 75 to 80% of the total calories, mostly from starch. Only 6% of total calories were derived from simple sugars. The crude fiber intake was high, 18 to 21 grams a day. Salt consumption was moderately low, 5 to 8 grams a day. So that's 5,000 to 8,000 milligrams per day. The daily intakes of calcium, iron, vitamin A, ascorbic acid, thiamine, niacin, riboflavin, and vitamin B exceeded or approximated the World Health Organization recommendations. Thus, the simple diet of the Tarahumara Indians, composed primarily of beans and corn, provided a high intake of complex carbohydrate and was low in fat and cholesterol. Keep that in mind. This is a diet composed mainly of beans and corn, provided all of the nutritional needs these people needed. Their diet was found to be generally of high nutritional quality and would, by all criteria, be considered anti-atherogenic, meaning it does not cause the hardening, it reverses the hardening of the arteries, would be what that means. Dietary habits of the Nicoya Peninsula. I think that's where this is. Yeah, this is, okay. So, background, longevity, blue zones are populations characterized by exceptional longevity. The proposed The purpose of this cross-sectional study was to compare the food habits of 2 representative samples, yada yada. Okay, so let's see here. Basic activities of daily living, instrumental, blah, 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 results. Nicoya age range, blah, blah, 80 to 109 were included in the study. In both populations, the highest frequencies of consumption were recorded for plant-derived foods, cereals 60 to 80% daily, legumes over 80% daily in Nicoya, over 60%, 2 to 5 servings per week in Uglastra, followed by those of animal origin dairy products and meat, over 60%. The frequency of milk consumption showed a positive correlation with BADL. Let's see if they mention that. The background longevity, okay. The fruit, okay, whereas legume consumption correlated negatively with self-rated health. Conclusions, our results indicate that the dominant dietary model among the elderly Nicoya is a plant-based diet complemented by a non-negligible consumption of animal products. So, keep that in mind, it is a plant-centered diet. That is the diet of these people that are centenarians or octogenarians. So the nutrition transition in 2 lowland Bolivian subsistence populations. Now, the tsunami, what I'm showing here is that simplistic vegan diets, or mostly vegan diets, plant-centered diets, provide very good nutrition. The tsunami diet was characterized by high energy, carbohydrate, and protein intakes, low fat, low dietary diversity relative to the average U.S. diet. Most calories, 64%, were derived from complex carbohydrates. Conclusion, a high-energy diet, rich in complex carbohydrates, is associated with low cardiovascular disease risk and coupled with a physically active lifestyle. Okay, keep that in mind. It has to be coupled with a physically active lifestyle. A transition away from a high-fiber and low-fat, low-salt, and low processed sugar diet is a salient health risk. So when you're transitioning away from this whole food diet, so this whole food, this high fiber, low fat, low salt diet and low processed sugar diet to a normal diet, it is a health risk. Okay, but a whole food, plant-centered diet promotes health, as we already know. I thought this was interesting, the processed food revolution in African food systems and the double burden of malnutrition. What I found interesting about this is it seems that while the processed foods lead to the so-called liberation of women, it also increases their risk of developing health diseases. So so-called female equity is resulting in malnutrition. So African consumers have increasingly bought processed foods for over 50 years, with a surge recently. Processed food is mainly produced by small and medium enterprises, creating many jobs. The rapidly increasing yada yada, da da da. Okay, let's see here. So let me skip to the conclusion here.